Hey, Rodney Koop here, founder of the New Flat Rate. Hey, just a word today. It's according to my little clock up there, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. Happy green to all of you leprechauns, and 2020. And we've got some concerns out there, and somebody suggested, what can we do about it? Well, what can we as in-home service contractors, what can we do about helping people doing service calls, repairs, installations during this time with the coronavirus, when we have to be concerned about getting together? Well, I want to read something that I got from a friend of mine, and I'll give his name in just a minute. But here's a couple things I want to tell you. Number one, here's what we know about this, and of course it's changing all the time. So what I said today, some of it, could be obsolete, but here's what we know. Now, by the way, I have a background in mold remediation, chemical remediation, building sanitization. So I've got a background in this. It goes back almost 20 years. So let me tell you how I would feel safe, okay? So if I had to go into a building, any building, and there was a concern in there. I've been in buildings where the mold was this thick on the walls, okay? I've been in buildings where they had black mold, all of this stuff, you name it. Here's how I feel safe. If I go into a building and fog it with a sanitizer, I know what it can and can't kill. So for example, this particular virus, what do we know? We know that it's airborne in water droplets, and it can go onto the surface in water droplets. So sneezing is a big thing, sneezing, coughing. You know what's funny, when I talk to people, when I check people's houses for dirt, dust, mold, they start sneezing and coughing while we're talking about it. So here's a couple of different things. Let's say that you get called to a home where people admit that we've got a problem, we're sick, we may or may not know that it's the coronavirus. You have to decide as a company, are we going to go help people or not? Okay, people need help. I would assess the nature of the emergency. Somebody says, I'm not sure if my heating system is working right, and we're at a high risk situation. I wouldn't prioritize that. Is it working? Well, yes, but, well, if it's working, then let's just let it work. That's not an emergency. But what calls do we go on? Do we go on those calls? What if people aren't sick? Yeah, we'll probably go on those calls. If somebody's sick, I want to show you the levels of what could be done about it. Okay, so here's level one. Somebody says, we need a service call, plumbing, heating, air, electric, or whatever. Okay, your guys should be wearing some type of latex gloves, and they should be wearing some type of a face mask. You're going to be around people now, that's what you should do. Okay, that's level one, that's the basics. Be careful, wipe down everything when you're done. Wipe down everything you're going to touch. If you got gloves on and stuff, you're going to be fine. I could easily go on an electrical call or a lot of calls and feel very safe. Now, that's the basic level. That's the Band-Aid level, okay? What's the next level up? The next level up is what more can we do? Okay, how can we do more? Okay, well, I could wear a respirator. How many of you have respirators? I use respirators here in my shop. For dust, I use the same respirator that I go under a house that has mold in. I use the same respirator that we spray chemicals in, whether they're chlorine-based chemicals or some type of an organic antibacterial sanitization, even a heavy chemical. I have respirators for that. Okay, so I have one right here someplace. Just a standard respirator. That's the second level. You want to be protected, wear a respirator. I personally don't trust the face masks. If I'm even going under a house or something, I just don't trust them because dust gets in them. It's hard to get them tight all the way around unless you want to duct tape them to your face. Even then, why not you could use a respirator. You look like a dork, right? Yeah, we look halfway to hazmat, okay? But that's the second level, use a respirator. If you have a respirator and latex gloves, you're going to be, you're very safe according to what we've been told about this virus. The third level is maybe full hazmat, so to speak. So you wear some sort of a moisture-proof Tyvek suit, the gloves, and tape it up here, respirators, maybe even eye protection. Now that's very heavy duty. Do we do that? Well, I don't know. By the way, over 20 years ago, probably 25 years ago, a matter of fact, I think maybe the first book I ever bought from Amazon, those of you know, Amazon started just selling books. Jeff Bezos was just selling books. Long before he thought he could compete with Barnes and Nobles, he was just selling books online. One of the first books I bought was a book, I've got it in my library here, I don't remember the name of it, but it was on the 1918 influenza epidemic. Very similar to what we're seeing now, but not in scope. Okay, it was a very dangerous influenza at a time when they didn't have media, communications, TV, telephones, or whether they might have had telephones, I don't know, but no, I don't know anybody would have had them. Point is, in 1918, more, you know, you've heard more people were killed than in World War I and World War II worldwide. It was huge. Now, I read that book over 25 years ago. So when this epidemic started in China, I understood the concern. I understood why the nations of the world were concerned. I honestly tell you, they wouldn't have been if it hadn't been for that 1918 epidemic, because they know what could happen in that, and the bubonic plague, things like that. That's why they said, oh my gosh, we better take this serious from the beginning. So that's why you and I are here taking this serious also now. So the third level up, full hazmat. The fourth level up is where you actually sanitize the house before you work. This is actually quite easily done at what I would call level four or the gold level. And that is basically, you go in and you sanitize the home simply by fogging. You can fog the areas that you're going to work in, fog the surfaces, floor, ceiling, walls, and it won't hurt anything. It won't discolor the drapes or anything like that. You simply fog everything. Then you go in there and wipe down the surfaces because they're moist now. You wipe down, if you were going to work on the toilets, the sinks, things like that, or even the thermostats, the air conditioning registers, ductwork, you just go then wipe down, you're wiping the moisture off. The fog will absolutely kill. It's an antibacterial, so it kills these things. Trying to think, if anybody wanted to know the name of some of those chemicals, happy to give them to you. I don't want to just throw a number off the top of my head, but I will. I know that my son uses one called Botanical, uses it all the time. I mean, all the time. And we've used it in $250,000 and up jobs, and we've used it in $2,500 jobs. I'm just looking now in his texts to see if I've got it here, what it was called. And I will text him right now. So at that level, I would go in there, ask everybody to leave the home, take the pets out of the house. Now this, especially if people call and say, we think that we could be carriers of this communicable disease, but we have an emergency here. We have no heat, we have no plumbing, whatever, okay? You decide that it's very serious, they're sick, but it's an emergency. You ask the people to leave the home, even if they just go stand outside for 30 minutes, and then you fog the areas you're gonna work, okay? You could even ask them if they want you to sanitize the entire house, which you could do, okay? You don't have to get all the surfaces soaking, because if you do, you need to wipe them down. Now that's a big deal, okay? We charge a lot of money for that. But if I'm just gonna go in and fog real quick and sanitize the areas that I'm gonna work in so I feel safe, I could probably do that easily. It's gonna take me 15 minutes if I know what I'm doing, if I have a decent sprayer. And by the way, a decent sprayer for me, you could have a backpack sprayer. You don't really want a pump up sprayer. You really need something powered. I use an agricultural sprayer, like the same thing I got my wife to spray the garden and stuff. It works off of a 12-volt battery, and you can put a 100-foot hose on it, which is what we do. It can stay out in the truck. You back up, you just go in with the hose, spray and sanitize those areas. you could and you should probably charge an extra $250 for that. If they wanted you to actually sanitize and wipe down the whole house, it might be $2,500, $3,500. By the way, you see that there is opportunity for other business here without raping and pillaging, without taking advantage of people, because we regularly do this kind of work, and $1,800 to $18,000 is just not uncommon depending on what's going on. So I'm just saying, but if I was going to just pull my hose in, sanitize the areas I'm working in, I would charge something very realistic down in the Band-Aid price, $285, $385, or something like that. By the way, the name of the chemical that my son uses is RMR Botanical. RMR Botanical. Wouldn't hurt to have some, would it? You say, well, I don't know if I can get it right away. What if you don't get it till next week? That's okay. Listen, prepare. Now, everybody, in my opinion, should put a sprayer on the truck with a long hose. Then you could just go. I personally would feel totally safe. I mean, I've been in this for over 20 years, sanitizing, being in biohazard areas and things, and I know what makes me feel safe. Now, if there's an inch of mold on the walls, we're going to want to clean that, vac it, get it out of the house, and we may respray several times, retreat. I use high intensity peroxide, 18% peroxide, which is almost pure oxygen. Well, 18%, but I mean, boy, that'll kill anything. So we use a lot of different stuff, but this botanical is very simple. Now, the highest level would be a full cleaning and wipe out. The highest level is this. Somebody calls, maybe your competitor, we got to work over here, we don't know what to do. Okay, $1,500, we'll send somebody over. They go over there, you got the white truck, Red Cross on the side. They just back it up, put on their hazmat suits, they go in and they spray the whole house down. Then your competitor, you can make sure that he has a full face respirator and a Tyvek suit and gloves. Now, I'm not trying to give you professional advice, but I'm giving you advice from a professional telling you how I would feel safe. And I mean totally safe, okay? Where are you in that? Your sister calls. You're pretty sure she doesn't have the virus or her kids, okay? You feel like you can just go over there, walk in and do your work, fine, okay? But then what do? You hand sanitize, you wipe down, you clean up before, after, you wipe down everything you're gonna work on, and then wipe down everything when you're done, collect your money, and then you go back to the truck and you hand sanitize again. Hand sanitizer is about 99% rubbing alcohol. Did you know that? So if you can't, it's basically just alcohol. I'm not a chemist, with some lotion or something in it to protect your hands or to retreat them a little bit, okay? Now, let me read you, and I can send you this if you'd like. Let me read you what and I should ask him. I got this off of Joe Crisara. I don't know if he was reposting it or if this is his protocol, but I do want to give him credit. This is called the In-Home Service Suggested Protocol from Joe Crisara's page. These are suggestions. Take as little or as much, all right? Number one. Have a script. We're all working on scripts to inform clients of the new safety and health service procedures. These procedures would include, and I'm happy to post this, but I'll get his approval first. These procedures would include, number one, asking all clients if they've traveled abroad or are symptomatic with fever or cough. Have your techs observe these symptoms of coworkers and clients as well and move to a safe distance or use additional protection as needed. And as I said, nobody's going to be offended if you wear some sort of a mask. If you go to the dentist, I guarantee you they're wearing masks. Number two, clients are also required to keep a 6-foot distance from the techs at all times. No physical touching of your device by clients is permitted. Don't let them touch your iPad, et cetera, et cetera. Perhaps let clients pay by credit card without a signature or by phone. Okay, probably different ways to do that. I'm sure you could take their card. You should have latex gloves, some kind of gloves on. Take their card, run it in your machine, or take a picture of it, send it back to your office. Number 3, and this is important, client pets must be put away in a separate room to avoid contact with service personnel. Number 4, I think. Techs should wear antiviral N95 breathing masks and disposable latex surgical gloves, which are all thrown away in a lined waste container at the client's home, okay? I don't know about that. I understand, but that means I have to take them off in the client's home to throw them away. I think I might just put a garbage bag in my truck. I'm just saying. By the way, the N95 mask, I think that's just kind of like the high-end 3M type of a mask. I don't think that's a respirator, but you probably know. Next, use an individually sealed disposable stylus for your device, or if you use paper, have individually wrapped pens to sign invoices without touching the paper if you use that. Remember, take what you want, leave the rest. You could have a bunch of pens, your company pens, and then you could just leave the pen with them. Next, make sure your own employees stay home if they have any symptoms. Separate all employees by a 6-foot distance. Cancel all group meetings at your office. What's going on now with keeping people from meeting is just trying to say, let's give this a couple of weeks and see if it starts to go away. Let's not encourage it. Let's not pass it to other people. Let's all stand still long enough for the virus to die. Every year we have a flu season and every year it goes away, right? It goes away, it runs its course. So let's just stay apart as much as possible. Possibly even go so far as to using a non-contact infrared thermometer to take employees' temperatures before they begin work each day. That's not a bad idea, okay? It's not uncommon, especially for people in our industry, to think we're tough, we can handle it. Don't be afraid. Next, have employees keep sanitary wipes or paper towels when touching doorknobs, faucet handles, or any possible containment surface, okay? Obviously, everybody wants the wipes, but they're probably getting hard to find. Maybe, well, I don't know. You can usually get stuff like that at the building supply stores and stuff. Okay, number 8. Well, I don't know what number this is. Employees, their families, and clients with diabetes, asthma, chronic bronchitis, or a history of getting sinusitis or pneumonia are especially to be kept at a safe distance from possible contamination. Now, employees and clients that have a history of these type of concerns typically know it, and they are going to be very protective of themselves, and they should be. You obviously have no problem respecting that right now. Next, wear a respirator mask when handling filters. Not a bad idea, just from a dust or any perspective. I like the whole respirator mask idea anyway. I wish they made them a little so they didn't look like my favorite Martian, but still. When the more serious things get, the more we're not so concerned what we look like. Next, provide customer work quotes and estimates remotely when possible. This may be a good time to get familiar with app-based remote meeting solutions. And that's interesting. You could use some sort of a app-based meeting thing. I don't know, there's different ones. And maybe you, your manager, and the customer could actually share a discussion. Isn't that interesting, by the way? That's a good idea, virus or not, isn't it? Kind of like, that's why I like Company Cam, by the way, and they're not sponsoring this. They can if they want to. I love the Company Cam concept, where your technician wears a camera and you from the office help diagnose. Okay, that's off the subject. Now, Other remote presentation apps are like Zoom, which is what I'm doing this on right now. Google Meetings, GoToMeeting, Join Me. I've used most of those to connect with customers. This is Joe Crisara says, this is only what I've come up with. These are only ideas I share because of my love for the hardest working people on our planet. You, the in-home service worker. If there's anything else you can add, please share. So I wanted to bring that up. At the new flat rate, we're working every day. So far, we have most everybody is working on site. I'm not here in my shop because of the coronavirus. I'm here in my shop. My wife said this morning, what should we do for spring break? I said, I think I'm on spring break. So I typically work from my shop. I work on wood projects. Matter of fact, there's one I'm doing for Danielle right now. I'm doing her a planter box. It's just getting started. But I've traveled a lot over the last couple of years. I'll be doing some more traveling later this year. And I do a lot of stuff from here. I still go and work at the office quite a bit. But I just like a quiet, peaceful environment to talk to clients and do some of the things that I do. This morning I wrote an article, come out in Contractor magazine pretty soon. But anyway, if anybody has any questions or comments, you can certainly contact us here at the New Flat Rate. Any of you, you got my phone number, you can call me anytime. Call Joe Crisara and thank him for that if you want to. He's a great guy, good friend of mine, done a lot for me. And let's stay together. Let's go out there and help people. Let's look for who we can help. The elderly, you see somebody in a grocery store that needs help, you can help people. There's just a lot that we can do. Let's look around and be concerned for who our neighbors are and who might need help that we can actually help. While you're out doing service work, right now, most people are still employed. The government's going to help them with money, et cetera, et cetera. So don't be afraid. You should still be paid for your services. Help people where you can, but be fair, get paid for your services, okay? Let's all go out there and do a great job. And we're here at the New Flat Rate, glad to help any way we can. So y'all have a great day, and we love you and God bless you.